The first time you open AutoCAD, you will see a screen that should look like this. You may have to rotate it around the top to get it to look just like that, but this is what you should see. And the center of X and Y is the center point of our Cartesian coordinates, which we have positive X in these two quadrants. We have positive Y in these two quadrants. We have negative X in these two quadrants. And we have negative Y in these two quadrants. And I'm assuming everybody is familiar with the Cartesian coordinates. If not, you can go Google it. So before we begin to draw anything, there's several things we should do, and the first one is to come up to the big A up in the corner and open the drop down box. And once you have that open, come to New and then create New Drawing. This pop-up box will come up and it asks for, it gives you different templates that you can start drawing from. And the one that just says ACAD is the normal inches template for AutoCAD. So we want to select that one, tell it to open. It'll obviously open up another tab. So now we have drawing 2. And once we have our drawing open, depending on what we're going to draw, we should always remember to go up to the top and tell it to save as something. Pick a place for it to save, name it, push save, and the name of your drawing will appear up here. So you can just hit Control S or save up here, and it'll save your drawing for you. I suggest you rename it after every 3 saves. You know, just put version 1, version 2 or something. So if something goes bad, you don't overwrite the previous files and you have something you can go back to. The next thing we want to do is come up here to this little drop down arrow next to the airplane that says share, and open the drop down, and we come down to the bottom and there's an option that says show menu bar. And right now we've only got one layer of tabs up here, but there's some things that are hidden in the menu bar that we will want to access, so we can tell it to show menu bar. So now we've got 2 sets of tabs up here, but we're also going to want to make a change here. There's usually 2 or 3 ways to access every function of AutoCAD. The mouse is one, the GUI is one, and when we get into drawing, I'll show you the differences between the mouse and drawing things with the keyboard, which you use the command line for down here. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to show you why first, is I'm going to place a point on our drawing. And the way the default setting is, there is our point. Real obvious, not hard to see at all. So if we want to change that, we can come up to Format from the menu bar that we just opened and come down to Point Style, and we get a box that allows us to pick whatever point style we like. You can use whatever makes you happy on your own drawings, but for the purpose of this class, we're going to use these ones with a X with a circle through it, which makes them much easier to see. So there's our point now. That's the reason we change it, because if you lose a point somewhere under something, and go to run it through CNC, you'll create a lot of problems that you don't need. So now we have AutoCAD set up and ready to go. So we're just going to look at some of the basic tools. So we have line, which is up here, or we can come down to the command line down here and simply type L, and line will appear. So we grab our line tool, and it's asking us specify first point. If you notice, it's got 4 decimals behind the whole number, behind the decimal point. It's got 4 full numbers. It actually carry out to 15. So if you're clicking on something, even if you think you got it exactly on the number you think it's at, there's a good chance it's going to be somewhere near, not necessarily exact. So you can use the mouse and specify your first point. It wants you to tell it how long. So, you know, you can tell it 9.2 or something. And then over here, notice that's where we entered our units for the length. Over here, it's got a degree. We can tab over to that, and we can, you know, play around with the mouse till we get it where we think it belongs, or we can simply tell it whatever we want from the keyboard and press enter, and that's where it'll actually end up. The line tool, along with several others, will allow you to just continue creating lines until you hit escape. So now I've hit escape, it stops that. And you can go back and tell it to start another line, or if you want to continue what you were doing with the previous function, you can just hit the space bar on the keyboard and it'll let you go around making whatever you were doing previously. So that's the very basic introduction to line. Real quick now, once you have drawn a line, even if you didn't get it exactly the way you wanted it, they're still very easy to manipulate. We can simply click on the line and the 3 blue boxes show up, and if we grab the blue one, we can drag the line anywhere we want it. If we grab the ends of the line, we can either extend it, we can shorten it, or we can change its orientation. So the lines are quite easy to manipulate once they're drawn. So now we're going to go on and we're going to look at circles. Polylines, we'll get into them another time. So circles, we have a choice. We've got center radius, center diameter. It's very important, if you're not remembering your math real well, you go figure out what the difference between a radius and a diameter is. It's going to become very important in some of the things you're drawing. We have a 2-point circle, a 3-point circle, we have a tan radius circle, and a tan. So we'll look at these real quick. And again, just like everything else, if you're down on your command line, you can just type C. It'll bring up some things. If you choose circle, it'll bring up the most commonly used circles, and you can select which one you want. So we've got our 3-point, 2-point, tan radius. So drawing from the command line is much faster, and it's also much more precise. You'll see as we move through some things. So for our center radius circle, so I'm going to pick the same spot just to give you an idea. So we'll start here approximately, and then we're going to tell it we want to radius of 2. And you can select it with the mouse, but I prefer doing things from the command line. So if we come get a center diameter circle, and we start it at nearly the exact same spot, and we tell it we want a diameter of 2. Notice the one with the diameter is half the size of the circle with the radius. So if you're trying to draw a 2-inch circle and you use the diameter, you'll be fine. If you use radius, you'll end up with an object twice as big as what it's supposed to be. And that works in reverse. So you can do it either way and it'll still be wrong. So it's a good idea to learn your radius and diameters. So now a 2-point circle, which we can just come over here, pick 2 points, and there's a circle. Now for a 3-point circle, obviously we need a 3rd point, so we can, and my snaps are messing with me. Notice these little green boxes that are showing up around certain parts of the geometry. Right now they're in default. I haven't turned any additional ones on or off, but when I'm up here trying to select something, it's wanting to snap to something that I don't want it to snap to. So I'm going to shut them off for while I'm trying to demonstrate some of this. So we get our 3-point circle, and if we pick there, approximately there, and then our 3rd point, we get a circle pretty close. And the only reason that didn't come out exact was that was too far from where I started originally, my first point. So you can click on it, adjust things a little till you get it to the right size. Sometimes it's easier just to start over, most of the time actually. But I just wanted to point out that anytime you click on a circle, it's going to give you 4 points around the outside and 1 to the center. And you can grab the one in the center and move it somewhere else, or you can grab any one of the 4 points and make it bigger or smaller. So that's how that circle, all circles work actually, once you've created them. Then looking at the tan radius circle, we can select it. We can pick 2 places that we want it between, and then we can give it a size, and it'll place the circle in the appropriate place tangent to the 2 sides that we picked based on the size that we tell it. And we can do it again just to, this time we'll make it a little bigger. And as you can see, it picks the correct places for it to be. So the tan circle is quite useful. So we can pick our 3 sides where we want the circle, and it will automatically make it the size that we need to tangentially contact the points of our that we have chosen.